Kelly, it's gone so quickly. We're into the knockout stages already. Time of recording, then we're still waiting to find out who France will play. Who Sweden will play in the knockout stages. We know that France are going to be playing the Netherlands, but we'll focus on England to start with. And you said you fancied England to win it before the tournament started, and Sweden were the ones to watch. How would you sum up England's tournament so far?
Oh, it's been a brilliant start, A-star performances. I think we said this before, the first game was quite nervy for them against Austria. I think playing the first game of an opening tournament, sold out crowd at Old Trafford, really got to some of the players. But what I was proud of is that they stuck to the game plan and they managed to get the 3 points and not lose the game. You always want to win the first game or not lose it. And yeah, they managed to do that. They won it ugly, in my opinion. I think, yeah, it was just about getting over the line. And then the second game, all the nerves went, the shackles were off, and we just saw a brilliant performance from start to finish. Nobody expected 8 goals. And it was just a delight to watch. I think that's the best performance I've ever seen by an England women's national team. They just blew Norway away and they couldn't cope with it. And I think Beth Mead was outstanding. Ellen White popping up the goals. We know she's a threat in and around the box. And the defence kept it really tight. High press Norway all over the pitch, wouldn't let them be composed on the ball. And obviously the Northern Ireland game was a different tactical approach, because we knew Northern Ireland would sit really deep in a block, low block, 5 at the back. And it was patience from England, just moving the ball, trying to get Northern Ireland out. And it was a good professional performance in the third game to score 5 goals. Russo is definitely an impact player coming off the bench with those couple of goals. She's got 3 goals now, and that's what you want from your subs. You want them to come on and impact and change the game, and she certainly did that. She could have had a hat-trick if not for the one at the end where she blasted it over the bar. And I think Ella Toone obviously come in and made a difference too, setting Russo up. So what I'm pleased with is not only that the 11 players that are starting, the players that are coming off the bench are really, adding something to the team and changing the dynamics when needed. So it's really pleasing. Couldn't ask for a better start. No goals conceded, but the next up is the Spanish. So that'll give them a different proposition.
And just one more thing on the England team, then, I mean, it can only be in a positive sense. Is there any England player or anything in particular about England that surprised you so far in a good way? Because I mean, when you've won all your matches and scored 14 goals, then there's not really any negatives, are there?
The positive is clean sheets. It gives you confidence at the back, and that's the defender's mentality. They don't want to concede goals. It gives them confidence. So that's been impressive. And I think they've just been so clinical in front of goal. And in their build-up games, the 3 games that they had before the tournament, they were creating a lot of chances, but not putting the ball away. And I think the Norway game, there was a shift in mentality and just aggressiveness and calmness in front of goal. It seemed like it all come together at the right time. And they've continued that into the Northern Ireland game. Could have been more goals.
You mentioned the Spain game now, then it's obviously a step up into the knockout stages. There were the 2 pre-tournament favourites, England and Spain. How big a test, but also how much of a different test is this one for England?
Well, I expect Spain to have the majority of the possession. That's their tactical element of the game. They're very good technically all over the pitch. They like to play tight combinations. You see glimpses of brilliance from their players. They'll have a lot of possession. They'll look to pull England out of shape and try and penetrate with through balls. So, yeah, it's about England being organised, disciplined. They have to get the press right in the right areas, because if not, they're going to get played around. So it's a different approach that they've got to go into this game, because they probably had the majority of the ball in all 3 group games. So now they're not going to have the ball. So how are they going to defend, keep it tight, keep it compact? But I think they just go out and still play the way that they've been playing, full of confidence and flair. Get the ball to Beth Mead. She's on fire. Lauren Hemp she was one of my top players to pick out. I don't think it's really happened for her, but it doesn't matter at this point because they're still scoring goals. She'll come into her own this game, I think. So yeah, it's about being organised, disciplined, and keep playing the way you're playing because it's working.
What's it like from a player's perspective, being in those games where you're anticipating not really having much of the ball, especially as an attacking player? Just how different is that to being in a match where, for instance, against Northern Ireland, you're looking at having 80% of the ball, flipping it around to being possibly up towards, probably not as high numbers as that, but yeah, what's it like from a player's perspective?
You have to change your mindset a little bit, knowing that you're not going to probably have the ball as much as you had like in those 3 games. And it's about being switched on, knowing your defensive role, getting that in your mind more so than probably the other games. But yeah, just being concentrated, having in the back of your mind about your defensive role. But then on the flip side, when you've got the ball, when it's a transition, go back to what you're good at and what you've been coached by Serena, and just keep getting after it, keep getting the ball to those key players that we've talked about. And yeah, just being calm and relaxed. I don't think England would fear Spain going into this game. I think they're really at a good place mentally, and with the home crowd behind them, as we've seen in these 3 games, it's the 12th person, so to speak, egging them on. I just think, if they go into this in the same mentality that they have the other games, they should win this game.
And for all England have been fantastic so far in the tournament, have Spain been a little disappointing, do you think, for all the build-up and the expectation that everyone had for them?
Well, don't forget they're missing Hermoso out with an ACL injury. She was their number 9, probably would have started most games, and then Pateas is out, and she's the linchpin in that heart of that midfield. I think they've done well without them. They do miss them, that calmness that Pateas brings in the middle and the links. But I think Bonmati has been brilliant for them. Garcia, they've still got players that can hurt you. What I'm surprised about is with Spain, though, is that I think they've scored 4 goals from headers, and they've only scored 5 goals. The other one was a penalty. So they haven't actually really created anything in terms of combination play in and around the box that we're used to, and putting the ball in the back of the net with their feet. Everything's been from a cross and a header. So that surprised me, but that's something that England need to be switched on with. Those crosses coming in to get tight to the players in and around the box. But you've also got to be aware their intricate play at the top of the box, because they do like to have 3rd man runs off and draw you out and try and play the ball through. So yeah, I think Spain is still going to be a threat, but you have to be switched on and concentrated, especially from those crosses.
I think probably 90% of people anticipated, including both of us, that Serena Vegan was going to make at least a few changes for that final group stage game, and didn't at all. Given that this is a slightly different test, do you think there's any chance she might tweak whether personnel or formation or anything like that for it?
Yeah, I thought she would have made a couple of changes just to rest a few players, but she's not. She's more, this is my starting 11. I know what I want. I know what these players can bring. So I don't expect any changes, if I'm honest, going into this game. Starting 11 is set. We've seen that from the first 2 games. I could be proved wrong. But yeah, it's working. So why change it? So I don't see any real tactical changes, a little bit more defense minded for the players going into it. But when they need freedom, you shouldn't change it if it's not broken. And yeah, I think she'll probably stick with the same 11 going into this game.
Away from England, actually, one more question on England, if it's all right. I put you on the spot a couple of games ago when they played Norway. How do you think it's going to go, Kelly?
You want me to give a prediction?
Go on.
Yeah, I think England have the squad, the belief, the home crowd. I'm going to go with a 2-0 England win. I think hopefully they'll keep it tight at the back. But yeah, I'm confident in this England side from what I've seen so far.
You were correct in there, in that Beth Mead was potentially the key player coming up with the vital goals against Norway. Is there a player in particular that you think could prove to be the crucial factor in this one?
Well, you have to say Mead again. She's literally playing the best football of her life, and I've never seen her so happy, dancing after games with Millie Bright. Yeah, I think, you have to say it. She's got 5 goals, 3 assists, leading hunting for the Golden Boot, and she's in the form of her life. I think if you get her the ball, obviously she's going to be tightly marked because of her reputation now and what she's done in the tournament so far. But that's when you need other players now to step up their game a little bit. Like your Fran Kirby's, yes, she scored 1 goal, but can she give you a little bit more in that 10 role? Lauren Hemp needs to probably do a little bit more on the left in terms of creativity, getting herself in the box, her end product in this game. I think Kira Walsh has been an unsung hero. Not too many people have been talking about her, but she's just that little link and break-up play in the middle. She just seems so calm and always trying to play forward passes. So they're the players now that need to kind of raise their game a little bit more in this next game.
Away from England for a minute, Kelly, then we near enough know what the knockout stage looks like now. Who are the other teams that have seriously impressed you in the tournament so far?
It goes England, Germany for me. They're the 2 best teams that stand out for me that I've seen. Germany look really solid at the back, very hard to break down. I'm really impressed with their front line. Schuller was out with an injury, or was it COVID? I think it was COVID. So Pops started, and this is her first Euro. She's missed the last couple with injuries, and she's just taken to it like nothing. She's just, she's a good international player. I think she's their captain, but she's there when needed. She's popped up with a couple of goals. Popped up with a couple of goals. Yeah, she's very good in the air, and Huth on the right has been brilliant. Her distribution, her vision, her crossing. Also, Clara Ball on the left, very lethal front three, and Oberdorf, McGill, just quality players in the middle that really dominate and control the tempo of the game for Germany. So they're probably the 2 most standouts. I think Sweden yesterday against a Portugal side that looked tired and weary. Yeah, Sweden looks strong. I don't think they play particularly well in their first 2 games, but they're on a roll now and potentially another favourite.
And just a quick moment on the Netherlands as well, who Sweden just managed to edge the group ahead of them. How defining could it be for the Netherlands that they lost Vivian Miedema to COVID midway through the group stages? Is it a case for them that if they can get her back and firing, who knows what they could do in the tournament? If not, then it's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, they've certainly missed her, and they don't look like the same team without her. It's just a shame for her that she's obviously got COVID and showing symptoms that puts her out. She must be devastated. But I worked the game last night, and the Netherlands were just so slow and weren't moving the ball as quickly. They miss her Viv's hold up play in the middle and her roaming and moving to try and find pockets of space. Berenstein is a different kind of player. She's replaced Viv in that number 9. She wants the ball in behind. She's a pacey player, but that's not her strength down the middle. She's better out on the right. So they lack that hold up play that Viv gives them. And they were fortunate, a little bit lucky at times, because the Swiss in the second half had a really good opportunity to make it 2-1 with So. And the momentum changed from that point. I think Volti, when she went off, the game spun on its head. She was the linchpin then in the middle for them. And once she was removed, the Dutch then got momentum. And obviously the subs that come on made a really big difference. But for me, it wasn't a 4-1 game. Swiss had the Dutch, but didn't capitalise on the momentum that they had. But for the Dutch, you've got to say well done, because they've lost their main goalkeeper in Sari van Veenendaal. She's been sent home with a shoulder injury. You've got your best player, one of the best players in the world, out. No one was out, main starter for them with an ankle injury. She was back yesterday, but they seem a bit depleted and a bit deflated, and I don't know what's going on with them mentally. They don't seem happy, and the players that were taken off, Roord and Martins, their faces were a picture. They're not happy with the way that they're asked to defend a lot. and something's not right with this Netherlands team for me. But they're winning, and if you're not playing that well when you're winning, that's a plus for them, because you're through to the quarterfinals.
And just finally, Kelly, then it's what we thought last time we spoke. Neck on the line, you're still thinking England-Germany final?
From what I've seen, yes, and they're going to avoid each other if they keep winning to the final. So that's a dream final for me and everybody in this country, to get the Germans at Wembley. The way England are playing, these two teams are in the best form out of the whole Euros so far. So that would be delightful